Well, I just got several millions of people ready to watch the original 1984 Transformers show with my last video, so perhaps I should review the first season. The first season of the Transformers is a kind of unique beast. It is both the season where they knew what they were doing the least, and at the same time, it's the one that clearly had the most direction of the three, technically 4 seasons, very technically. It's also the shortest season if you don't count the 4th, which you probably shouldn't. This is the most structured and serial of the 3 seasons, with the show having the first 3 episodes being an arc, then the next 6 are a vaguely serial number of filler event/monster of the week episodes. While they aren't really tied together, things do happen to change up the series status quo, like the Dinobots and the Constructicons being created, and Skyfire being dug up, resurrected, killed, dug up, and resurrected again, and the creation of the space bridge, meaning you can't really watch this in any order and be fine. There are plotlines that need to be followed. That said, it's not like this series is one that demands you pay all your attention. It is normal for new characters to just pop into existence with no explanation, so being confused by the introduction of new characters you have to have context for is something you are going to need to get over, otherwise you got no chance. Honestly, this is just turning into another primer episode, so I should probably get into the series review. To start off, I will recap for people either unfamiliar or people whose memories have faded. The series starts out with the first half of the first episode being set on Cybertron, with the Autobots bailing on the war underway, and the Decepticons giving chase. Megatron leaves Shockwave in command of Cybertron before leaving. The 2 ships clash in a very animation-era heavy battle, and both ships crash on Earth because it was just a hop, skip, and a jump from Cybertron, apparently. Fun fact, the mountain they crash into is supposed to be Mount St. Helens in Washington State. Don't ask me why Washington is apparently supposed to be somewhere in the Mojave Desert. The next 2 episodes follow the Decepticons trying to steal Energon from Earth and the Autobots attempting to foil them with their new human companions who they save for the destruction of the oil rig they were on. The Autobots come up with some truly moronic plans to thwart the Decepticons, and the Decepticons respond in kind by making an army out of literal garbage because apparently they could just do that. The first season ends with Mirage blowing up the Decepticon ship, causing them to crash land in the ocean. The next several episodes cover the introduction of new characters like Skyfire, an old friend of Starscream, whom Starscream cares for a good bit until the second they have a disagreement, at which point Starscream just tries to murder him. Or the Dinobots, the fucking coolest thing ever thought of by anyone ever, as according to a 10-year-old boy. And that 10-year-old boy is right. They are the fucking coolest thing in the history of ever. I love that the Autobots see dinosaurs and basically go, those look like they kick ass. We should probably build some so they can kick ass for us. Personally, I hate that all the modern incarnations of the Dinobots just go the Marvel Comics route and says that they were just regular crewmates on the Autobot ship that woke up millions of years before everyone else. For starters, that's dumb because the computer was supposed to be offline so it can't resurrect anyone. And 2, that means the Dinobots can't be stupid. Here's an idea. The Dinobots are rebuilt on Earth, but that's because they were heavily damaged on Cybertron and all received head injuries. So you can have them be Cybertronian from Cybertron and have them be built on Earth and dumb as rocks. Perfect compromise. Anyways, throughout the season, we learned that the Decepticons don't just want to acquire Energon. They want as much Energon as possible this very second until what we are using destroys itself in the process and then onto another source. They keep coming across energy sources that could output at a strong rate for decades, but they'd rather get 50% more Energon than would have otherwise been today's output and have the energy source explode afterwards than getting 200% by waiting today and tomorrow and 300% for the day after. This brings us to the second and last arc of the season, where the Decepticons decide to teleport Cybertron to Earth using the space bridge, with the goal of harvesting the power created by the effects of the gravitational event Cybertron has on Earth. Few problems here. This is destroying the Earth, a planet rich in resources. Once again, they are obliterating an invaluable resource to get a little bit more Energon right this very second. But that's not the end of the problems here. If the Earth is getting destroyed by the clash of gravities, shouldn't that also be happening to Cybertron as well? Never mind that. Cybertron is much smaller than Earth, meaning that it is in fact the Earth that should be wreaking havoc on Cybertron. Cybertron should be messing with the tides a bit, but the damage to Cybertron should be immeasurable, not the other way around. Anyways, they are foiled when the Autobots, including Spike, pull the most legendary shot of all time and hit Megatron's ship in space from the surface of the Earth, causing it to explode so forcefully it knocks Cybertron out of Earth orbit and out of the solar system. This makes the third time this season that Megatron is very dead, with the first being when Mirage blows up the Nemesis, and then the time that the Dinobots dumped him T2 style into lava. The writers, of course, somehow do not realize that an explosion between the Earth and the Moon strong enough to eject the Moon from Earth's orbit at faster than light speeds would completely obliterate the Earth. But hey, what are you gonna do? 80s cartoon, remember? Just go with the flow of insanity. So how does this stack up in a qualitative sense? If you want your silly 80s cartoon to be about more than just the good guys beating up the bad guys, there are positively hammering messages about sustainable energy extraction here. The animation errors are consistent and brutal. You will find that I was not joking about dying from alcohol poisoning if you try to make a drinking game out of this. There are dozens per episode. I've noticed upwards of 7 in the first 2 minutes of a single episode. The characters are fun and endearing. It's amazing how simple characterization can be if you just give half a shit about actually doing it. Every character is distinct and unique, and you just kind of want episodes where all you do is spend time watching them interact. It's definitely one of the highlights of the show. The plots are at best silly. My favorite of the nonsense is that apparently Burma has mines where they unearth incredibly powerful rubies that are charged with readily convertible energy. This made perfect sense to me when I was like 4. Now it's like, an adult wrote this? Whatever, it's fun. That's really what it comes down to. The show is just fun. It's dumb as fuck, but it is trying. I want to call this a legitimately good show, but technically it's not. It's really the best kind of bad thing, which I do view as a legitimate kind of good. Let me explain. If you're going to make a bad thing, make it too much rather than not enough. This is the principle that Inframan was built on. Make your bad stuff a constant deluge of cool, fun, and colorful ideas. It will never become deep that way, but at the end of it all, the viewer will still have had fun. You won't have wasted their time. All the flaws don't matter as long as you put someone on a roller coaster, so long as they wanted to ride a roller coaster. This is not a defense of the movies, by the way. You actually have to be able to comprehend what's going on for this to apply. Anyways, the Transformers show is that. Lots of stuff happening, all of it comprehensible and connected, but not necessarily abiding by a strong sense of logic, with tons of endearing characters who get into firefights and brawls and do stuff like surf into battle. It's nonsense, it's glorious cheese, it's tons of fun, and if you don't have a stick up your butt, I recommend you at least try it. Even if you don't like it, it won't waste your time. Just let the fun happen. Before I give a final rating, I want to make it clear that I don't buy the argument that a 7.5 out of 10 is where stuff starts getting good. 5 is where stuff is neither good nor bad. 4 is redeemable. 6 is good but not great. 7 is great. 8 is fantastic. 9 is one of the best shows ever made. And 10 is the best shows ever made. Looking at this series both ways, objective rating, the animation is shoddy, the plots are simple and nonsensical at the same time, shallow but immediately defined characters, solid action, excessively rapid pacing, acceptable world building, good voice acting, but not really well-crafted story. Looking at this objectively, I think the show has to be somewhere around a 4 out of 10. Subjectively, 8 out of 10. A truly fantastic series, worthy of the cultural relevance it holds today, tons of fun, the pacing is the pacing it needs, the designs are awesome, the characters are lovable, the animation is not bothersome, and the plots are just fun. I don't know how much I need to say it, it's just fun. It's not something you need to treat with the most serious eye in the world. Just go in and have a silly good time. Watch the show. I doubt you will truly regret it. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.